why don't you guys give us some tips? Because obviously you did a performance, and I'm sure people have asked you for performance tips. So why don't we give our viewers something to, you know, take into account when they're planning their performance?
My first one is if you're not a dancer, don't do it.
I was hoping you would say that. And if you didn't, I was gonna say
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
actually,
Honestly,
I thought it was my job to be blunt, but thanks.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wedding Season, the podcast. Today, we do not have vendors with us. We have a couple who did go viral for a little bit on Instagram. We have Jasmeet and Sukha. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Can we introduce him as your favorite Jodi?
100%.
There.
So your Fav Jodi was the name of, the Instagram page. And I guess that's what you guys were called for a little bit as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
The
Because
hashtag.
when people didn't know who you were, they just said your Fav Jodi. So let's start with the first thing. I don't even want to ask you guys any questions besides, was it really a surprise? I think that's like the serious question everyone wants
The
to know.
$1 million
Was it a-
question.
The $1 million question. Was it a surprise?
Yes. So I think we got this question a lot too.
Yeah.
Jasmeet, was it a surprise?
Yeah, it was a surprise. Essentially, what happened was we had I generally knew there was gonna be a performance because Sukha used to be a part of a Bhangra team,
Okay.
and so he had told me the Bhangra team's gonna do a performance, and at the end we'll just put a ring on, and I was like, all right, cool, it's fine, not a problem. And then we actually never dropped the video, but at the beginning he does a little bit of a speech and he says, oh, Jasmeet doesn't know about this, but, and then my face was just like, what do I not know about? And then
You're ruining my wedding.
yeah, I'm like, okay, all right, I guess we're doing this. And then it was obviously the best.
Like worst thing a girl can hear on the day of, right? Like,
I
eyes on
was
my
like-
wedding. I don't want that. Right?
Yeah.
So for people that are tuning in, I know for our first episode, we introduced Mr. DJ Suk, and we actually brought up a point that it was his SoundCloud mix and how you guys met. So let's take things back a little bit. How did your favorite Jodi come into your favorite Jodi?
It become favorite Jodi?
Actually, before we get into that, just Pawan said, I'm DJ Suk. So for everyone who thinks I'm a truck driver in California, that was the rumor all along. I've met people. I've met people in my over the last couple of years that one thought I was a truck driver. Some people thought I live in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, that was a
so
thing for a while.
It's but yeah. So
No, we're
Yes,
from
Toronto
I live in
based.
Yeah,
Toronto.
Toronto.
Brampton ਪਿੰਡ.
yeah,
Toronto.
Brampton ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ.
I was about to
yeah,
say.
Brampton with ਮੁੰਡਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ. But
Yeah,
back
the
to-
podcast, the mix
Yeah, the
on
mixtape.
SoundCloud. Yeah. So, I mean, small world, I guess, but essentially I tweeted about it back in the day and I was like, oh, sick mix, whatever, listen to it to my 4 followers. And he took a screenshot of it, posted it on Instagram for his 10 followers. And at the time. And my best friend of pretty much my whole life is actually family friends with this guy. Never heard of him before that. And she's like, how do you know Sukha? And I'm like, I don't know who that is. What are you talking about? And then long story short, we went on a date and that was it.
yeah, shout out Nancy. our
Yeah.
Bacholin.
Nancy.
So when the video went viral, for those of you that don't know, you can literally search up your Fav Jodi on YouTube. The video went viral, not just on the page that it was posted on, but so many other random pages, because I think I myself came across one of them.
Yeah.
And had 100 million views on it. And it was some random I don't know what it said, Bollywood meets something.
Yeah.
Some random YouTube page. And
Yeah.
then there was so many comments, likes, whatever. And like I said, there was 100 million views on just that one that I saw. In addition to, I know the original went viral. So how was that? Because I know me and you were together a lot. There was a lot of people that, I guess a little fan base that started from there.
It was wild.
It was really weird the first couple of days because we went to sleep and like you said, it was some page in India
Yeah.
that picked it up overnight.
Yeah.
And first of all, we posted it literally for our friends and family. We're like,
Right.
hey, let's put it up. People will watch it.
Yeah.
We wake up and my parents are getting phone calls, right? And they're like, and then my parents go, oh, you sent the video to this uncle in Australia, and I'm like, I didn't even know I had an uncle in Australia, right? So, and then it hit us when I logged into Facebook, and it was I had 200 DMs, and I was like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah,
right?
It's wildfire. I don't honestly remember how from point A to point B, it was just we had our engagement party, and then after that it was oh, are you guys your Fav Jodi? Are you guys your Fav
Yeah.
Jodi? Oh my god. And I'm like, is that what we're gonna be known as
That's
now?
like
Like,
your names don't exist anymore.
yeah, like I was like, okay.
Even now after all these years, people are like, are you the guy? And I'm like, wait, what did I do?
I've actually seen that. I saw that
Are
happen
you
live.
the truck driver?
Yeah.
Or?
I witnessed that happen
There's like a
live.
smile that like they like when you make eye contact with someone, they kind of like give you a smile, and you're like, okay, that person's about to ask.
Yeah, they give like that nod, that head nod. Like,
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Are you that guy?
So now-
depends who's asking.
So obviously that was your engagement,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I'm gonna be biased, guys. I think your favorite jury was the original trendsetters after all of these performances came on. I know I'm gonna be pissing people off as I say this, but however, now did you have pressure for the reception?
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I did. I don't know. This guy, like, when he performs, it's like you just keep looking at him because there's like a grace to how he does it, and then meanwhile me,
Oh,
like, meanwhile like on my end, I was just like, please make sure my lenga like stays intact, and like 50 pounds of trying to dance with it, and like I don't really dance much, so there was like a girls versus boys aspect to it. And I know everyone says the guys win, but I'd like for you to try dancing with 100-pound lenga and doing it
Fair.
properly.
No, the guys won. Honestly, like for on my side, like we talked about this in an earlier episode, but
Yeah.
2017 was when Eminence was blowing up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was doing gigs up to 1 week before the wedding.
I
right?
think
So-
we all
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
at that
So
point.
we-
The day of your wedding, me
Yeah.
and you were doing a gig.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
were like
Me and him
right
had to
around-
leave
yeah, we
the-
had to
the
leave.
shoot.
We had to leave the
Cambridge. There was
what
a shoot
was it?
there.
Yeah.
The
And
wedding
then we had to
day.
come down to set up
Yeah.
for the reception.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me and the guys, our routine for the reception performance, we made that at 2 p.m. on the day of the reception.
Yeah, I
So,
still remember because I showed up and they're dancing. I'm like, you guys haven't practiced?
In the,
And right now we
in the
haven't.
parking lot, I think.
I'm just yelling out moves.
Yeah, literally.
So I guess that kind of answers the question of like, I think Pavin touched on it, how it changed engagements and weddings forever almost, because now at every party there's an engagement performance or a wedding reception performance, and that wasn't quite popular back then. I think it definitely came about after you guys had yours go viral. And again, if someone's gonna hate it, that's okay. But I know a lot of people do it to get famous or to get popular,
Mhm.
whereas you still see some people trying to do it as like a genuine
Mhm.
thing that they want to do for their family or
100%.
some sort of entertainment purposes.
Mhm.
And then there's people who are like, how do I beat your Fav Jodi?
Yeah.
How do I become more famous? Like it is what it is. That's
Yeah.
why it's how
Essentially.
life works, right? You set a standard and someone's gonna try to beat it.
And it
So,
was,
yeah.
I mean, it was, sorry to cut you off there, but it was beautifully how they incorporated. I know Jasmeet's mom was involved, your mom was
Exactly,
involved,
yeah.
and everyone was coming
And those
together.
are the
and
things that haven't been seen before.
It-
So I think that's what the
Yeah.
difference was. Like, I don't think we were the first ones to kind of come up
Do a
with a performance
performance,
or like even do like, I don't know, you could say like a group family performance. But I think it was the idea of like bringing family members in and then correlating it to the songs.
And I think that really helped because of you getting into DJing and being a
100%,
DJ.
right?
Nobody had that idea before, so it was more so the creativity behind what you produced, not the dance itself, because everybody dances.
That's the thing.
But it was
that's
the creative aspect you threw in with it.
So then, like after that, yes, like I do think it became a trend to kind of do that, where it's like you get the family involved, the music matches what's going
What's
on.
going on?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then that became a thing, and like even till date, like people say, hey, like
Yep.
we really want to do something like you did,
Yes.
and like I'm always open to helping out, and like like you said earlier, a lot of people did it after. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
I love seeing people have a good time.
Yes.
So for me, it's like some people go, oh, this person copied. I'm like, yeah, but they're having fun. Like,
Yeah.
right? Look at their faces. Like
Exactly.
they had a good time.
Like
right?
even
So-
that, like I feel like it's a lot more personal. Like I feel like
100%.
everybody, like not just your immediate family, like people are like know you guys, they can get like involved as well. Like they sit around and watch and like they clap along and they have a great time. you
Yeah,
know?
we see it
Yeah.
as DJs, right? Like
Yeah,
and
we
like
have it. We see
MCs.
it
Like
all
it's
the
like
time.
Oh, absolutely.
when you get a family performance, it just changes the energy in the room,
It-
Yeah, it
and
does.
then
Just
and you know
brightens
the
up the
party's
room.
gonna be good,
Yes.
right? Like
Yeah,
you know the party's
100%.
gonna be
And
good.
100%.
Nothing against people having other performances in, but it's it's intimate when
It's
you have your
intimate, yeah,
own family
100%,
members.
yeah.
And with all
100%.
due respect, there's times where you have other performers where people are like, oh, another performance. Okay,
Yeah.
let me go run to the bar. But when it's like, oh, no, it's like my nephew, my niece, like, people
Yeah.
are
People
more,
are more interested.
Yeah, they're
Watching,
intrigued, right?
definitely. Yeah,
I
they
mean-
pay much more attention.
definitely
Yeah,
has
I feel like
warmth
we
to
should
the room.
apologize to Pung our team, so because we like single-handedly like ended that.
So,
we are the Uber of performances.
Literally.
so not only does Suck DJ do DJ, and the couple now provide choreo. No,
Actually, on that note, why don't you guys give us some tips? Because obviously you did a performance, and I'm sure people have asked you for performance tips. So why don't we give our viewers something to, take into account when they're planning their performance?
My first one is if you're not a dancer, don't do it.
I was hoping you say that. And if you didn't, I was gonna say
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
actually,
Honestly,
I thought it was my job to be blunt, but
Yeah, like,
and I don't mean this to be
love
rude,
the
and I
honesty.
do feel like a lot of times the grooms get pressured. Like, I want you to do a performance,
Yeah.
right? And I feel for them, but like honestly, like do what, like kind of like if something else is special to you. Like
Mhm.
I've seen guys like play the guitar or like
Yes.
sing or write something for the bride,
Yep.
and it hits just as hard.
yeah.
Write a nice speech, right? Those things blow up, whatever it is. But again, if you're not a dancer, it's like painful to watch, right? When like
Yeah,
the
it's
bride and
you
group
see
are
it on
awkward.
their face.
It's
It's like
awkward.
Janai karde badhiya rehna chahiye.
Yeah, pretty much.
right? Like you'll see like the bride and groom bumping into each other, and
Yeah.
it's like now at this moment was supposed to be like special, make you happy. You see
little
the
goofy.
frustration because it's
Yeah.
like what, this is not going to plan, right?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
my biggest tip is again, don't force it, and number 2 is just have fun, right?
100%.
Don't worry
Yeah.
about the going viral. We never did a performance to go viral.
Yeah.
Going viral wasn't even a
That
thing.
wasn't an action.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing
It
back
actually
then,
wasn't.
no.
Right?
wasn't
No,
a
in
thing.
2017, nobody said, "Oh, someone's viral." Like that wasn't.
Yeah,
thing.
it wasn't a
Yeah.
thing, and like
Yeah.
so again, we never had that intention. If anything, sometimes we even thought back to it, we're like, what, je nahi hunda ta wo bhi theek siga,
Yeah.
right? Like so,
Yeah.
but again, just have fun with it because that's what's gonna like she said like the reception, the guys, just it was like you capture your attention. We were just having fun. We
100%.
barely even knew the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I mean,
So
what-
we're asking for tips. So it's like show up 4 baje performance karni, 2 baje parking
Yeah.
lot jaake nachi jao, right?
Literally.
but I think the number one thing was, I mean, the biggest tip probably from your end is like if you don't know how to do it, don't do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's because everybody with you was almost everybody.
They
was
were all
Bhangra
Bhangra
They were all
dancers.
Bhangra
dancers, and
dancers.
some of
So-
us had been dancing together for years, right?
and that's what made it what it was,
The
right?
chemistry
It's
as
just-
well that they had.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
for
girls have
years,
it
yeah.
easier
Yeah.
because we're not actually doing like Bhangra steps per se. We're more so just acting out the song. And like, I think even for like our reception dance, we did try to keep like the family aspect of it, like where we had like my brother came for one of his
Yep.
sets, his
Yep.
nieces came, like our moms all showed up, and like we really wanted to kind of stick to that for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was cool. Why did Fav Jodi stop? You guys stopped posting on the page.
Yeah, what's
Like, what
going on,
happened?
guys?
yeah, what's going on, guys?
20,000 followers? So ki ho gaya?
So to everyone that keeps commenting on the YouTube, because once in a while we'll go look at it, right? That like it's so funny because they say so matter of fact they are divorced, right?
Period.
To all those people think we're divorced,
Hello.
Jati.
We're still very much
I'm still
together.
around. So, why did Fav Jodi stop? I think that was more on me, to be honest with you. I was always big on like running the page, whatever it was. But one thing we started realizing was and I think this is kind of a message for couples in general, just people in general, like social media ne dunya patali. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
100%.
it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
mental health is at all time low, right?
Yeah.
All these kind of things, and a lot of it is social media, right? Like
100%.
and like for example with couples, right? Like we're portraying this, like, oh, we're so happy, perfect life, right? But like any real couple, you're gonna have ups and downs, right? You're gonna go through rough patches, but if me and her in a fight, I'm not gonna go, let me grab my phone, let's go live, we're in a fight, right? So, but people,
Can you imagine?
Like,
Yeah.
actually-
Smile, 3, 2, 1, smile.
How dare you not go to my mama's? Yeah,
Yeah.
Mama, I hate you again.
but it's crazy.
but it's crazy that
Because it
like,
happens.
but it's like and where I drew the line, and I was like, you know what, I'm not down for this anymore. Is we started, and I swear to you guys, this happened. Not once, not twice, a couple times. We got DMs of people saying either they were getting divorced or they're on the verge of divorce. And they were saying, in the future, how do I work on making my relationship perfect like yours? And I was like, bro, like,
Perfect.
are we literally putting out like, I'm
Like
not
fake
saying
fake
we were,
news in a way.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah,
it's
like,
fake
it's
news.
fake
I'm
news,
like,
right?
it wasn't like intentionally, but it was like, hey, look, like, us just being like having fun with this page, whatever it is.
Yep.
Some people are loving it, but then some people it could, just messing with their mental health, right? And
100%.
like, I was like, you know what, this is not right, not cool, and like getting those messages wasn't cool, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see that stuff. So, that was the main reason. And then you know what, a lot of like other, like you said, a lot of other couples kind of like came up and they're doing great. Like I think it's amazing that they have
Right.
their pages. I was like, Tusi Sambo, right? Let us
Yeah.
step back.
I don't
right?
know.
So-
Just like I personally, I'm just a very private person in
Yeah.
general. Like you see what I'm willing to show you, and then everything else is very like you won't know a lot about what's going on in my life unless I've specifically told you. So I find like with that page especially, people were like like asking very personal questions, and it was just like you need
Where-
like a boundary.
Where do you live?
Yeah, where do you live?
And we said Toronto. She goes, no, what street?
That was-
Yeah.
There's a comment asking for his
No,
Yeah.
it's a DM.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, where do you live?
Oh.
Where do you work?
I think that was a
What's
that's
your
a big problem.
like?
with
Yeah,
the-
like what's your full name? Like,
yeah.
It gets,
like what
it
is
gets
your
a bit
blood
much.
type?
Yeah.
Like, pretty and like, oh, when are you gonna get pregnant?
Oh.
Like,
Oh, that's
Wha-
the,
Yeah.
You don't
I-
ask someone that.
no, you don't ask
No.
someone that, but that's the problem, right? Our community, especially, there's no such thing as boundaries.
Yeah.
And,
that's
like,
what I'm
I
saying.
for-
think that goes for every community.
Yeah.
And to an extent, so like the decision you guys made to stop doing it
Yeah,
is the point where you have to decide if you're gonna put yourself in public eye. You don't have a right to say why are these people saying this to me
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you're choosing to put yourself.
You're inviting
so
that
you made
attention,
that
yeah,
choice.
yeah.
So you made the choice that you were
no,
more
and
comfortable
I
with.
1000% agree with that,
Mhm.
right? So it's like, for me, it was more just like a boundary thing. I don't care for you to know everything that's going on in my life. I find that very disturbing.
Yeah.
Like, there was times where people would come up to us and like be like, oh my God, you're Fav Jodi. And like, I appreciated it because you're showing us love and like, I respect that so much. But to be getting recognized to me was just very weird. Like, Sukha's used to it because like DJ Suk, but like me, they'd be like, oh, it's just me. Then I'm like, I don't know you,
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah, yeah,
right?
it's out of comfort zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was outside my comfort
Yeah.
zone. And like, we didn't ask to go viral. We didn't ask for like all, but like at the end of the day, like I said, I respect and I'm so thankful for all the love. But at some point we were like, hey,
Right,
I think
yeah.
this is, we need to like chill.
I mean, we see it. I think like on the touch of mental health, that thing is like so important to like kind of shed some light on because we know so many Toronto-based people who are Instagram influencers
Yeah.
per se, right? But and this is not a secret, but for some reason people just don't realize it. Like it's not a secret that nobody's gonna post their bad days on there.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna post a video of them crying on there because
100%.
that doesn't go with what their image is or what they're trying to portray.
Yeah.
They're portraying a world and a life, and that life doesn't always have to be what their daily life is. It could be pictures that they took in 8 different outfits
Yep.
in the same spot, and you'll never know that's the same country.
Yeah, and you're
I
like,
could
Yeah.
post Spain and nobody will know.
you just put the location. Yeah,
That's all
Yeah.
you have to do.
And I think
Exactly.
on the note of like, yeah, like, you know, just kind of going off topic here, but like social media and mental health, like
Yeah.
like you said, we see it, and like I've talked to like influencers that are like, you know what, it's like they start like there's one thing that people are looking at the content,
Right.
but then for the influencers themselves, it's like there's pressure to create content,
Yes.
Yeah.
and when that content is like couple related or whatever,
Mhm.
it's like literally putting a strain on your relationship because it's like, smile, we need a post.
But,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
No, we
Pretty
laugh
much.
about it. No, we laugh about it now,
And-
but you made a really good point.
and it's like, you know,
good.
you
No,
it's
It's
true.
just because everyone knows your favorite Jodi to be that bubbly couple who were
Yeah.
dancing their hearts out. And now, like I said, you have your ups and downs. And now it's just like on your bad days, are you going to be like, okay, we're so forced to do this. Okay, we got to show our side of,
It's
oh,
like
let's just be happy. and
Why are
bubbly.
you not posting?
Yeah.
Right? Or it's like, and then, and it kind of stems down to like, you know what, like for us, like we realize like, yes, on like, you know, DJ Sook, minimalist, like, you know, we're on social media, right?
right.
But that's limited to like that stuff, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
if
So that's what I mean. You
if we're on
choose
a-
what to show them.
exactly. And if
Exactly.
we're on a trip or we're out to dinner, it doesn't need to be, you know what I'm
doesn't
saying?
need to
like,
be on
I don't
there.
need to create content for us going out for
Right.
dinner, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we can generally go out and enjoy ourselves
Yeah.
because we don't have this couples page anymore. And, we don't
And,
need
and
to-
no one
yeah.
needs to go and see what DJ Sook is eating. They
Yeah,
want to see what,
exactly.
what music DJ Sook is
Exactly.
making,
Yeah,
right? That's what
exactly.
matters.
So if I don't post anything like couple related or anything on my DJ, there's no pressure.
There's no
'cause it's
pressure.
Like,
And
hey,
if you guys are interested in what DJ Sucks eating, go on his Snapchat. Update.
But let's go back on track. We are going to be talking about wedding planning tips for couples to enjoy their big day instead of being stressed out. I think that's what our entire wedding season podcast and our conversations are about. But now this is coming from somebody who's planned a wedding. You've seen over the past 5 or 6 years the changes in weddings. What would you do differently? What would you do that was the same? So let's start with a budget and things you need to prioritize.
So if you ask me, obviously I'm gonna say outfits should be your first priority.
Okay.
Only because like that dictates like your pictures, your videos.
Mhm.
Also, just it sets a tone for your wedding.
Right.
I've said this my whole life. Your food and your DJ will make or break your party, and then I end up getting married to a DJ. But like for when we were planning, I put all of my priority was outfits and just how everyone was gonna look, and it wasn't just mine and Sukha's outfits. It was like my parents, his parents, our siblings, like bridesmaids, groomsmen, like nieces. Like it was like a whole thing. Decor kind of took a backseat. The cake kind of took a backseat because at the end of the day, for me, personally, obviously everyone's different, but for me personally, it was like I wanted our guests to just have an experience.
Right.
Just experience having fun. Like I didn't leave the dance floor once, and that was thanks to Mr. Thidji here.
Boop, boop.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Your fave
Yeah.
Jodi DJ.
Yeah,
DJ
exactly.
DJ.
Official
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 DJ,
tour
yes.
DJ for your fave Jodi.
Literally. He he made it so hard to even just go grab a drink because like our reception was very like our reception was quite successful because of him.
Yeah,
I think in how long was the dance for? 5 hours, 6 hours?
It
was
started at like
6 hours.
7:30,
It was
8
5 to
o'clock.
6 hours of a
Concert.
dance floor, and I will tell
Yeah.
you this:
Yeah.
I was emceeing and I was partying, and we were all jamming out
Yeah.
and whatever. This guy only replayed one song,
And that's because I made it.
and that's
Yeah.
because he
Yeah,
asked
that's
us.
because Sukha
Yeah.
asked me.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
replayed one song in 6 hours. I don't know
Yeah.
where his mind has that much music stored in.
Yeah.
But this
And it
guy
was all
did not.
Punjabi.
All
Only Punjabi.
There was no English
There
music.
was no
There's
man.
no
And-
English. There's no
and I think,
Bollywood.
like, kind of segueing into that is like that goes in the next tip that I would say
Mhm.
for couples when they're planning their wedding is actually two things in there. One, for us, we kept our program very short.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
And
was-
we
Yeah, that's a good
trusted
point.
Prince with that. Prince was emceeing our reception.
Yeah.
I told Prince, listen, I need you to like really moderate this. Like, we don't want speeches to be longer than a minute,
Right.
right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
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 awesome.
Listen, at the end of the day, anything anyone wants to say to us, they can say to us in private.
Right.
Everyone there doesn't care and they don't
Yeah,
even care,
like,
right?
it's-
Yeah.
And it worked great. And again, kept it super short. Like I'm talking, like we were walking in, we cut our cake right away, sat down, right? Like
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
formality, nothing. And then after keeping your program short, you got to think. And then when it comes to the dance floor, the thing was like my thing was, and I told Jasmeet's family and my family, we're not doing song requests,
Right.
right? Because as a DJ, I know this, but song requests are what one cause fights at parties,
Yes.
right? And two, ruin your party because
100%.
usually it's the uncle that wants to hear something that they hear in their
Can
car.
we say the mama again?
Yeah.
It's goddamn
It's
Tony
always
Mama.
the mama.
It's always the mummy again. Tony Mama wants
Um,
freaking.
But it's
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like, and I'm talking like I kind of dictated to that point where it's like when they did have like I think 2 or 3 times like uncles were kind of like mera gana londa, right? And they call me over. But you can't just give in because it's your chacha or your mom or something. You have to
And you can't
You
do
gotta
the hanji hanji because now you're just leaving it on the poor
Yeah,
guy. 'cause
you
you're
end
making
up
it
being
seem
on the
like you
DJ,
did
right?
what you
Yeah.
were
and,
supposed
and
to.
now he looks bad because he was
Yeah.
told not to take requests.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go give in, right? It's like when someone working customer service and manager just comes and
Yeah,
tells them you're
we'll-
not
we'll
allowed to
do
do
your
this.
return.
Yeah.
And then when the customer complains, says, "Yeah, I'll do it for you."
Yeah.
Right? So
But the one thing I really appreciated was when I did call you over, you did handle it.
yeah, and
What ends up happening a lot of the
Yeah.
times is, hey, I don't want you to take requests, and then someone comes up for a request, and then I'm like, hey, like they're not like couple's not taking requests, and then they come back and like, no, you can play it.
And they do one of these. They do one of these.
Yeah,
They're
like, yeah, like
yeah. Don't worry. Mama,
yeah,
lalo, lalo,
and then-
yeah.
Yeah, because then it puts
Why are
me
you putting it on me?
it puts me in a position where then he's gonna get mad at me and start a fight with me, and I'm like,
Exactly.
I didn't do
And then it
anything
ruins
now.
your night,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
then ruins the dance floor for the rest of the night. And like again, at my reception, there was 2 or 3 uncles that were giving Teji a hard time, and I didn't go up there and say "Chal koi nahi." I went up there and I said, "Listen, Uncle Ji, we've already told him
Like what to
what
do?
we want him to
Right.
play. Tusi aayo, pafana karte hain. Just let it go with the flow, right?" And they understood. They didn't put up a fuss.
They understood because you
But
you
because
laid down the
I
law,
said it.
right?
Yeah.
He
like,
says
if
it.
I
He
said
says
that,
it's a
then it
different
was a problem,
story, but
right?
you're the groom. It's your party. Like you
But,
get
like,
to make that decision.
At the end of
Yeah.
the day, I wouldn't tell my mechanic how to fix my car. So it's
but
like
that's
if
the
I've
thing.
hired him
Thank
and
you.
I've paid good money,
Good
and
point.
same like really any vendor.
Yeah, any
Like
vendor.
if I've paid good money and I'm spending a good chunk of change, they're the expert. They know what they're doing.
And-
I don't
and-
need an uncle telling me.
And this
play-
comes to our next point:
exactly.
picking a quality vendor versus cheaping out.
Right.
Like,
Kijiji.
if-
No, and
Yeah.
like this is why I like to go back to that first point of budgeting, right? Like, I think every couple should, before you start shopping around, sit down and decide what's
Make your
important,
budget,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, priority.
And obviously, DJ is the most important thing. Spend all your money on the DJs.
call these guys. Call these guys.
MC ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਭੁੱਲ ਹੀ
Yeah, yeah.
ਤਾਂ ਵਧੀਆ
no.
MC DJ book karo pata, right? So,
Yeah, off the go.
and you know what? Like this, and it kind of like the reason I say this because I noticed like a lot of my clients, right? They specifically want me to DJ, right? And usually one of the first vendors that they book.
Right.
And I don't have that many problems at my reception because they usually come over and like, no, listen, we've paid him good money. We've told him what we want.
Yeah.
To see ayo,
Yeah.
right? Thing. But like, it's that, right? So it's one, choose your quality vendors,
Right.
and then 2, trust them to do what you're paying them to do, right?
Yeah.
I was actually just laughing with someone the other day. They go, "Oh, are you available for 2024 September long weekend?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" No.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this, but since 2018, it's always been me and Sukha,
Yeah.
and we've always been booked for 2 years in advance
Yeah.
on that exact same weekend. Other dates are open. I'm not
It's always
saying
a- yeah,
we're the
yeah.
most booked. Like that's not what it is. But that date, for whatever reason, people go and book 2 years in advance. It was 2018. We were booked up until 2020
Yeah.
for
It's
that
always-
weekend.
That weekend's always been.
That's
booked.
also
Yeah,
our
that
wedding
weekend's
anniversary.
Yeah, it's a
That's
never.
awesome.
That's also our wedding
Yes.
anniversary.
Still haven't celebrated an anniversary.
Yeah,
I
this
feel,
year
I feel
will be
that
6
weekend's always
years.
the busiest though.
It's
It's
always-
it's the
yeah.
busiest weekend of
Because
the year,
it's
right?
perfect. It's first of all, it's a long weekend.
Yeah.
And
The
weather.
kids are still off school.
Right.
The weather's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
It's like
we-
starting to get a little chilly, but not
A
like too
little
hot.
chilly,
you know?
yeah,
Not too hot, it's not
exactly.
too cold.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I'm gonna just go back to the point of, again, a good DJ, food,
Mhm.
and booze is what makes a party. That's my opinion. Everyone has their own, right?
Yep.
So what I like what you said was earlier was, Suk, as a groom, take stand.
Yeah.
Okay, we've seen a million
A
parties.
groom and bride both.
Groom,
yeah,
right?
Because
It's
you, he
your-
can't go to talk to the other family like, yo,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
right?
Like,
Exactly, right? So
Throw
Bruno
it up,
Gunn-
Corona, कर दो.
and that's the point where people get pissed off, where people are like, they
Yeah.
cave in, right? As like, oh, it's fine. But the thing is, like, when you cave in once,
Yeah.
then that's a snowball effect.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
worse for the
Honestly,
DJs,
it's,
right?
yeah.
We've seen a
Yeah.
bajillion parties, but like
Yeah.
you said, as that bride and groom once, no, the DJ's doing his thing. We're having fun. Be polite about it,
Yeah, 100%.
and let's continue the night.
And it's
But
that-
like,
it's that-
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's that whole like that we always hear it. Koi nahi khosh kar do, right?
Yes.
But it's like, listen, you've spent over $100,000, right?
Yeah.
This person is there for you. You're not there for them,
Yep.
right? They should care about your happiness and you having a good night. I hate when people come up to me and say, "Who cares what the bride and groom want? Tu
Yeah.
mera gaana la." Right?
I've heard that
And
so
then-
many
and then-
times.
and
with
then I'm like,
so
I'm
many
disrespectful.
times.
So
we had
disrespectful.
we
I'm
had
definitely
we
not
had,
playing
we
your
had
song.
one uncle. I still remember was like, really, he wanted to play Muhammad Sadiq. I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sidhu Musiala going on
And
in
I
the
was like,
back,
this is just there's
It's
no
some-
correlation.
Some people
Yeah.
just don't have that like that self awareness that like, yo, maybe this song isn't gonna work right now. You
Do
know
you know
what
what
I
it
mean?
Ask for
is? And
sad
it's
songs.
always the roti eaters.
I've
That's what
heard
we
of
call
sad-
them.
Yeah.
sad songs.
Like
Oh man.
it at the end of the day, it's our parents' generation, unfortunately. But like in terms of like how many people are invited, like you're gonna see a lot of what I've noticed is like there's so many people invited to these weddings and like they all just kind of want to do their own thing and there's no real respect for the bride and groom because they don't even know the bride and groom.
Yeah.
I think the best
True.
party that I've ever attended was a 250 people wedding,
I agree.
and that was just immediate family and close friends that these people see every day. And some of us don't get to we don't have that option sometimes, right? We can't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Honestly,
Like, it is what it is.
I got lucky. I did only 300 people at
Yes,
at
Yeah,
my
yours was
COVID wedding.
exactly-
Like, yeah, we had a blast.
And it was
Like
a
all
blast
the
too,
eminence
right?
guys, like I was looking back at the
And
pictures.
One
the
of the
other day, and
best
it was-
receptions.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. But even if you do, like, and the Prince just said that, like, sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes you don't have a
Like,
choice.
our
Yeah,
reception
sometimes
was,
you
I
don't,
think,
right?
like
800 and
seven-
800.
Yeah.
But
You
the-
might have
yo,
invited 700.
yo, 700 people. You guys
But let's
had.
just, let's
but-
just say even it was 700, right? Like I had a thing with my parents. I said, listen, if I can't introduce each guest to just meet myself,
Yeah.
they're not invited.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fair.
Mhm.
Simple. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to call you guys over and be like, right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like,
Yeah.
and that's how we kept our, and that's why our dance floor was ramped.
Right.
Like,
It-
very-
and
But
you guys
the
are very-
But it
88
was
No one was
Yeah.
there to eat roti and leave.
But at the end
why.
of the day, it was
Right.
800 because we wanted 800. It could have easily been 1,400 people if we
yeah,
had
yeah.
if we had let that
But,
get
the,
that
but
far.
the thing I'll give it to you guys, both your families, is like you guys are very respectful towards like anybody that was working, like vendor wise.
100%,
They were
yeah.
super respectful.
And it helps. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're a vendor yourself, obviously,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
you have that knowledge and you can explain to your family that. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I
think
think,
that makes a
yeah,
huge
you really
difference.
should just educate your parents on like this is what we're doing. You should keep them in the loop because I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes they feel
Mhm.
the reins are kind of being taken away from them, so then they're like losing control of it. And I've noticed that quite a bit.
Yeah, they
But
don't
if
lose
you
that
keep them
power.
like we kept our
Exactly.
parents in the loop for everything. We didn't ask for their opinions per se. Like we were like, we've booked this. This is how it is, and they were like, okay, cool. Like they respected what we did essentially with our planning.
and then I think when you have like your family, you have your friends, you have your, bridal parties, like, you have your groom side, you have your bride side, they all have to have a good understanding.
Mhm.
And that understanding really is important, especially for entrances and speeches,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
everyone's trying to one up. Like, and this doesn't exist for all weddings because we've
Yeah,
done
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of weddings where
Yeah.
people are so cool, so smooth.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
there's
yeah.
ones where like, okay, the mama entrance karoni hai. ਸਾਡੇ ਵੀ master ਪੜਤਾਏ ਦਿਖਾ ਦੇ.
Yeah.
What did you just say?
Yeah.
They added one, let me add three. It doesn't
Yeah.
work like that.
The
So-
master class ਸਾਡੀ ਲੱਤਾਂ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ
Yeah.
ਸਾਡੀ
Yeah.
ਨਹੀਂ entrance ਹੁੰਦੀ
So why don't you speak on entrances and speeches, obviously as a vendor and as a guest, and I actually want to hear from everybody. Like, what do you guys think about that? And what's the best way to kind of help people or advice to give people to kind of cut down on
I
that?
think we brought this up on our MC podcast.
We did, yes.
The MC podcast as
Yes.
well, where you had 27 entrances. I had 17 once, and it's
Yeah.
always right. And I
my
think,
God.
in my opinion, again, going back, bride and groom, take over. It's your night, right? If you're not there to hurt feelings, who cares? Because end of the day, because if you have 17 entrances, by the time it comes to your entrance,
Everyone's
peop-
tired.
people are checked
of
out.
doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like everyone, like no
Pe-
one's gonna go like this.
They
like
don't
a
even go that
wound up,
far.
like a wind up monkey. Just like
You know,
straight
I
up.
feel like some bride and grooms have like the obligation because their parents are paying for the wedding,
But
and so the
Mm.
parents are like, "Map ass there, like you're gonna do whatever I want
Yeah,
because I'm
but
giving the money."
I think
right?
I think what happens is, and I've said this, like I as a DJ, when people ask me and I give
Right.
the suggestion, and if they don't listen, whatever I say ends up happening is when you start doing like the extended relations is when you start offending people. Because somebody always gets missed. Right?
100%.
You could
Agree.
literally have 27 entrances, and there's
The
been one
20
guy.
that 28th,
That
word,
28th
it's
one?
gonna come
And
mad.
the
Yeah.
28th, they'll be like, "Mavi mama lagda si," right?
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yo, bro, like you're like a third."
You worked with my dad in '88.
Asi full money
What is it
factory.
exactly? It's like, and you ask
It's
him like,
one of those.
how's that your mom? I literally just say that. Like, yo, my dad lived in his basement.
Yeah,
So it's, like-
literally.
it's I think the more entrance you do, the more chances you open yourself up to offending someone,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas it should really, to be honest with you, the only people that anybody cares about. You have to look at it this way: who is a bride's like? So if my family's entering, who does her family, like the guest there,
No,
care about?
I know.
right?
Exactly.
Right.
Thank
They
you.
care about to see who my parents are,
Yes.
my siblings are,
Yes.
right? And then obviously your bridal party.
And then Bibi Bapu, obviously.
like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
your
Like
immediate
the people
family.
you
Immediate
live
family,
with.
yeah.
family.
The
Yeah,
people
yeah,
you
yeah.
live with.
Yeah.
Like I don't have grandparents, so but like yeah, like grandparents, your parents, and your siblings, like
Yeah.
your actual immediate blood
Yes,
family,
yes.
right? And then obviously your groomsmen and bridesmaids because they play such a big role, like
For you.
Yeah,
for you,
support.
that's
In general,
for-
yeah,
that's
yeah,
for
for
you,
They are
right?
your
So,
support.
but other than that, I don't think anyone else because to be completely honest with you, like nobody cares, right?
They really
Other
don't,
than if it's for you, if you're just doing it to make your parents happy or your parents insist that their siblings enter, that's a different story. But if you're, actually planning a wedding where it's like, how do we keep this interesting and fun
Yeah.
for everybody? You
Yeah.
don't want 27 inches.
No.
Yeah, like I think our wedding, very straightforward. We had all of our entrances. There was like 5 in total.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Our entrance, we came in, danced for like 0.5 seconds, cut the cake, sat down, speeches, and then we did our performance,
Performance,
a
and
slow
that's-
dance, and then
That's
opened the
it,
dance
yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
And we
it
were
was
open by
crazy.
7:30, I think. And most parties now start at 9:00.
And
Oh, yeah,
I've
yes,
seen that a
yes.
lot. Obviously, we've done a lot of parties this summer.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're starting. Okay, people have this odd. I don't know what this Indian Standard Time has kicked back to. People just love showing up at 8:00, 8:30. Okay, now
Sometimes
you have
9,
17
man.
entrances. It's 9:30.
Yeah.
The bride and groom are still, in the foyer of the hall, looking
Yeah.
at
Mhm.
looking at walls. And now the party's at like 10:30, 11. Like
Yeah.
the dance floor time just got cut to 2 hours.
I've
Yeah.
seen it so many times where like the hall manager comes over and obviously like if we're MCing or we're DJing and if there's a DJ without an MC, they're gonna come to whoever that vendor is because you have the mic. They know you have the mic. So they walk over and it's happened to me multiple times where it's 10:15 and the family asked for dinner at 10:30. So now it's 10:15 and you're in the middle of speech and still 45 minutes to go of the program. And they're like, yes, so dinner. And I'm like I and that's I just do one of these like
You have Tony Mama who wants to sing a song on the stage and then Prince be like, sorry to cut you off, dinner ready.
like it's just one of those things that I've noticed is really becoming a trend now where people are coming later and later and later and I don't understand why.
But the parties are going later and later too. I feel like I've
But
had
that's
parties
why,
end at like
though. You know what it
3:30.
is?
Like,
And
But
I-
that's a
you know?
problem.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
is,
problem.
I
is,
think
man,
this
it
is
Nothing good happens at 2 in the morning.
No,
Yeah, no.
100%.
but I think this comes to like kind of like my next piece of advice and probably the biggest piece of advice. If anyone's gonna ignore everything else I said, listen to this. Listen, like the reason why weddings are going like the start times are getting pushed so much is
Right.
weddings are getting way too complicated,
Yes.
way too extravagant, right?
Yeah.
And they're not even weddings anymore. They're just like what I'm saying, like it's almost
It's
like
a
a
show. It's a
Competition.
show.
It's a competition.
It's a competition. So
Yeah.
like
It's a show.
to be completely honest with you, like people always ask us, like people who are at a reception, like listen, it was one of the best we've ever been to, right? People ask us, what'd you guys do at your reception? Like, how'd you make it so fun, right? They think we were gonna give a long list of things. It was literally we were just there to have a good time. We didn't care about the little details.
And you cut out the BS.
We cut all the BS. Like
Yeah.
I'll be honest with
Say
you,
it
like,
straight,
some
yeah.
kid poked a hole in our cake and we
Yeah.
didn't even know.
Yeah.
That was
I
before
cut
we
the
even
cake.
entered.
I cut that
Can
cake
you-
with
okay,
a hole in it.
This
My
is
sister's
the
like, there was a hole in the
question
cake.
to everyone. This is the question to everyone. We all been to hundreds of. Did anyone ever eat cake at an upper wedding?
Like, yeah,
I don't
like,
think so.
No, but see, we took that into account, right?
Yeah.
We are the lady who made our cake. she only like the bottom layer was cake, I believe. And this is like a thing, like when you
Yeah,
actually
it's-
start.
Yeah.
And so we asked her, like, we actually would much rather you just did a dessert table.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then tip is we asked her to make a box just for Sukha and I because we weren't gonna have time to go out and get
And eat
dessert.
it there anyways.
So
yeah.
she
That's
had
amazing.
it delivered to our hotel room.
Shout
we-
out to a pinch of sugar cakes.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
But
10
she,
out
yeah,
of
so
10.
she
11
took,
out of 10.
11 out of
would recommend.
Our dessert table got rated. It was we
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it lasted
Bro.
maybe 30 seconds. And we had eggless option because there was a lot of people there that were Amritari or they didn't eat eggs and
Right.
within our family that we knew of.
It's amazing.
So we made sure that like one section of it was just eggless because I mean,
That's
who doesn't
good.
want cake?
Yeah.
Like,
It's inclusive.
yeah.
Scumbags like me always go to the eggless too because they taste better sometimes.
Point is, I got eaten.
All right, guys. And we're coming close to the end of the episode, but we do want to make sure that we know who your vendors were because we do know that you guys had a smooth wedding. So who helped make that happen?
So I'm just gonna read this off my phone because I want to make sure I don't miss anyone.
100%.
Right? कोई रहना नहीं चाहिए.
28th
So,
entrance.
Don't forget the uncle, eh?
yeah.
The mama.
So, obviously our AV, DJ, MC, Eminence Entertainment, best company, बहुत बढ़िया company.
बहुत बढ़िया.
A1
Hey.
company.
So if I was to recommend one vendor for sure, it's Eminence Entertainment.
10 out of 10?
10 out of 10.
You wouldn't happen to own the company or anything?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. not
No
you.
association
Wrong
with
guy.
the company.
Okay.
No
Our
investment
venue,
at all.
our reception venue, Verdi Convention Center. Actually, all of our events are at Verdi Convention Center.
Yeah.
Charlie uncle.
Charlie
Yeah.
and Kapama.
Mama.
Our wedding planner was Everlasting Events.
Loved
Video
her.
was Prism Media Lab. Shout out Baka Harmon. Photo, Irvin Sidhu. We had him on an earlier episode here. Decor, Lux Decors. Again, cake was Pinch of Sugar. Our printing was Designer Dance Floors. And if I missed anyone, maaf karna. Bocher ho gaya.
बहुत चिर हो गया.
मामे दा ना फेर नहीं रहा.
But on that note, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time out to be here for wedding season and another episode for us, with us. Sorry, a round of applause for you guys.
Thank you.
And for everybody watching, thank you for tuning in week after week. We have more content coming with great vendors and couples, and we will see you here soon. Wedding Season, the podcast, and you already know how it goes. For bookings, make sure you contact Eminence Entertainment at 647-449-7034. You can email us at info@eminencent.com.